and welcome to the Learning Ladder. Today I'm sharing with you some of the books that I have used as part of my planning process. So I have used them for reference, I have used them for ideas, and I've also used them to get a firm grounding in what philosophy, if you like, or method of schooling that I wanted to use for my homeschool. So the first books are ones that I began with in my homeschool journey, if you like, and the first one is Homeschooling the Early Years by Linda Dobson. And here it is. And this book was really interesting because it covered all the information that you needed to consider when you're starting out for homeschooling. So how are you going to teach reading, writing, arithmetic? How are you going to instill joy of learning with your little ones? Also, it teaches you, if you have got multiple ages of children, how to balance that, which isn't relevant for me, but I think that's always useful to know. So I really enjoyed that book, and that was one of the first books that I read when I started out considering homeschooling my daughter. The next one I read is more specific to my location, where I live, and that is What Every Parent Needs to Know. And this is by Toby Young and Miranda Thomas, and this is in relation to primary schools in the UK and what your child would be learning if they were in primary school, as you as the parent should know in advance so you can help and encourage and support. So this is not necessarily for a homeschooler, but just for any parent of a primary age child, but I thought this was really interesting to use it from the viewpoint of homeschooling to see what kind of things that she would be learning in primary school. And along with that, I also took reference and very specific notes of the national curriculum, which is what schools policy that they use here in the UK. The next book, and it's one of my favourites, and this is Home Learning Year by Year, and this is by Rebecca Rupp. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And this is how to design a homeschool curriculum. But the best thing about this one is it goes from preschool through high school. So once you've bought it, you've got it for life, well, for the life of your children in school. So it goes through every single age and what you need to consider in terms of each of the subjects. So language arts, maths, history, geography, science, languages, art, music, health and physical education, foreign languages when they reach that stage. And it's amazing. I absolutely love this book. Now I will say that because it's an older book, some of the links aren't always accurate. You might have to hunt around for what the reference they were mentioning, but I never really specifically bought it for the links. It was just the overview of what your child should be learning through each of the year as they go through their education. So I really recommend that one. The next one, or the next three that I bought, were more to do with thinking of ideas and fun games and activities to incorporate to my homeschool. And obviously I've got a mind of my own, so I can think of ideas myself, which I have done. I use Pinterest a lot, but it's nice to have some books as well for reference, because sometimes specifically with these books, the authors have been homeschooling for a long time and they've had multiple children, so they have really good ideas as to what works. So I really enjoyed these books, and this one is The Ultimate Book of Homeschooling Ideas by Linda Dobson, and there are 500 activities in here, and there's all kinds of things. So she goes through the subjects for each to give you different ideas, and again general overview of instilling fun in learning and all those kind of things. Art from the heart, and then she also does cheap ideas as well. So if you're as we all are on a budget, how to make the most of your budget. So I definitely enjoyed this one. And then this is another one that I really enjoyed, and this is Games for Reading, and this is by Peggy Kay. So there's really fun and interactive ideas in here. So I already compiled a list of things that I wanted to incorporate into our reading program, especially because it can kind of be monotonous at times, especially with review. That's what I was thinking of with review. So to make review more interesting. So I think that is an excellent book, and there are so many different games in here, and she also does consider a few different ages as well. So she'll give you an idea, say if you've got younger children, how to expand on that if your children are a little bit older. And there are all kinds, word hunts, sound checkers, word in bags, there's so many different fun and interactive ideas. So definitely recommend that one. And then this one, I was a little bit let down, not because of the book. I think the book's fine, but I don't know kind of what I expected from it, but it just didn't kind of hit the spot. And that is What Your Kindergartner Needs to Know, and this is by E.D. Hurst Jr. and John Holdren. Now I think when I bought it I didn't quite realise that they would be actually putting information in it in terms of stories and things. So you could actually use it as part of your curriculum, really. And that's why my bookmark's just falling out. Because it does have, for each subject, little stories, information, tidbits that you can share. So I mean, it's not terrible. It just, I don't know, I just wasn't impressed too much because of what my expectation was, not because there's anything wrong with the book. I think it's perfectly fine. I'm not using, I've got all different curriculums that I'm using, so if you're just wanting something to supplement your curriculum, then I think this is really helpful. But as I said, it didn't quite do it for me, but nothing against the book, it's fine. Now, the two final books are my absolute favourites, and they are The Well-Trained Mind, and this is by Susan Wise-Bauer and Jessie Wise. I absolutely love this book, and this is one of the philosophies of our homeschool, and that is classical education. After reading all about it, and you know, it just ties in so well with everything that I foresee our homeschool journey to be about. So I highly recommend this one. This is the up-to-date version, the 4th edition, so all her links in here are really accurate, which is great. And then the final book that I have read is The Charlotte Mason Companion by Karen Andriola. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible with names. This is the personal reflections on the gentle art of learning, and basically she started out homeschooling and found Charlotte Mason's philosophy principles and incorporated it into her homeschool. But what she also did, which is amazing, is she read all of Charlotte Mason's books and then wrote her own in modern language, I guess you could say. And it's absolutely amazing. I love this book. So my homeschool philosophy is a mixture of classical with Charlotte Mason, and I incorporate the two in terms of I particularly like Charlotte Mason's real books, living books approach, and I also really like her narration, her nature study, music study, art study, all those kind of things I think are really important, and we are definitely incorporating them into our homeschool. But I just love her idea of narration, and my daughter already does that. It comes so naturally to her anyway. She'll narrate things and I'll have to write them down. If I don't get them right, I'm in trouble. I didn't say that, Mama, change it. It's funny. So yeah, she already narrates anyway, and she really enjoys it, so that just falls so well into our homeschool ideology, philosophy, whatever you want to call it. So classical and Charlotte Mason is my homeschool philosophy, and if you are wanting to incorporate those elements into your homeschool, these would be my favourite books. So that's everything in terms of my planning books that I have used for planning. The next videos you will see will be to do with my schedule and my actual plans and all those kinds of things, my curriculum. So stay tuned for those. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.